So, like, this is gonna be a video where I talk about something that I like, but my eyes. Do I have conjunctivitis? Does it look like I have bilateral conjunctivitis? Does it look like I have two-eye pink eye right now? Be honest. I really thought I was turning the corner on my allergies this week, and then this wanted to be congested. These wanted to sting. You know, I didn't have, like, the whole street block that I live on lost power, like, from, like, 1 a.m., and we didn't get power back until, like, 9 a.m. this morning. And I wasn't awake for most of it, so it's not, like, an issue, right? But it is kind of an issue because, like, I couldn't charge any of my devices. And I couldn't cook anything, and I think everything in the fridge, every single thing in the fridge just, like, died. And it's bad, and I have to replace all those groceries. But whatever. Today I'm going to talk about my favorite show in the world. And what having a show like this be your favorite can really teach you about life and change things. And I might get a little bit into my favorite snakes. Maybe I'll just make a couple of different videos about animals. Right now I just feel like talking about wildlife and something bit me. So maybe my favorite snakes will be a different video. But today we're just gonna not talk about, well, we are, okay. So something bit me is, I think, maybe one of the best ideas that humanity has ever conceived and created. I love the show so much. I'm so excited for season 2. I'll literally, every time I watch an episode of Something Bit Me, I feel like I have to tell and the most concrete detail possible someone else about what I just saw, so they can learn. I always feel like I'm learning. It's always a story of, like, triumph. It's always a story of understanding between man and between beast. It's always suspenseful. It's always a sense of connection and perseverance. And, like, I love how the conclusion is never, this was an evil animal. This was always, like, this was an animal that was afraid and behaving and doing what animals do. They always say, like, I don't hate the animal. So what is Something Bit Me about? So there are these people and things bite them, right? So Something Bit Me is about, it tells the real stories of real people who survive animal attacks. Well, let me tell you what, this is a perfect premise. One, you always know that the person, and maybe this is going to change in season 2, but it's always an interview with the person that got bitten or, like, got stung or, like, somehow interacted with these animals in, like, a negative way. You always know that the person is going to live because they're here sitting down telling you the story, right? So you can always sort of, like, enjoy it from that perspective. Number 2, they always have, like, animal behavior experts come in and, like, sort of explain the psychology behind the animal, and also what you should do. And they always say, like, this is why I always say I'm so irritated and annoyed by people who are talking about applying tourniquets to the bites of venomous snakes. Every time they say, do not apply a tourniquet to this snake bite, They say when there's a bear coming to attack you, at first you want to make yourself big and loud, and then you want to and if that doesn't work, you want to crouch into a ball, protect the neck, and don't move. Whatever you do not move until you are almost certain that bear runs away. If you're going to be using a bear spray, you don't want to spray it when it's 5 feet away from you. You want to spray it when you can still see the bear off in the distance. Because by the time the bear is that close, the bear spray isn't doing anything, honey. It's not doing anything, baby. Like, oh my God, I love Something Bit Me. So, and then, is there anything else? I don't know, like the interview, and they have, like, these reenactments or whatever. Yeah. So it's so educational, but it's, like, educational about, like, animal behavior and animal psychology in a way that's so entertaining because you're following the story of these people who have like these near-death experiences, and your jaw sort of drops. You go, oh my, like, when I tell you I think there were two episodes that these people did on polar bears. When I tell you that people are not meant to live places where there are polar bears, and I feel like you can make the argument that maybe like the indigenous communities, like the Inuk, who like live up where in polar bear country and like have, you know, histories and traditions and practices, like they can live with polar because they know what to do. Everybody else, you will never see me anywhere a polar bear lives. Okay? Because it's truly not the fault of the polar bear for living there. Like it's hard enough for polar bears to live in these unprecedented times. Like go off polar bear, move into Anchorage, go into the cities, go pop about the towns, go to the shops, like do what you gotta do to survive. You're in a really tough position. But I'm gonna be in a tougher position because one, I don't think people, like I know I for sure didn't. I didn't realize how big they're huge. They've got super thick necks. I don't care what anyone says, those things are not cute. When you think about the sheer size of the sheer size of a polar bear, it's kind of ridiculous and it's absolutely terrifying. Number one. Number two, I think they're one of the few, maybe the only creatures on this planet that truly, like, human beings are not the apex predator. Polar bears definitely are. Polar bears definitely are the apex predator because they're one of the few, maybe the only animals that are hunting human beings as prey. They look at a human and they go, this could be prey for me. This could be a nice meal. Do you understand, like, maybe if you don't know animals that much, if you're not as into, like, the animals things or whatever, you always hear, oh yeah, they're more afraid of you than you are of them. Like, you know how crazy that is? Like, how like, nobody else is doing this but polar bears. Are looking at people and going, yeah, that could be lunch. That could be a cute lunch. These things are so fortified. I remember there was one episode of Something Bit Me, and one of the polar bear episodes, this thing got shot once. It got shot twice. It got shot 3 times. It got hit by a truck. And it was still trying to grab this young lady and eat her up as a snack. It was actually dying, and it didn't stop until the heartbeat ended itself. These are not games. I'm games. Polar bear, they are not games. And can we talk? And there's not been an episode about the Komodo dragon, but I feel kind of like similar ways about the Komodo dragon, and it really comes down to, I think, like the animals that I will not be fucking with. I love it, like a huge respect for polar bears. I love learning more about polar bears. I have so much respect for those animals. I will not ever be in a room with a polar bear because it will eat me and feel no remorse, and I wouldn't be able to blame it. Like, morally, there's nothing wrong with the polar bear eating a person. Like, go the fuck off. But I feel similar way about Komodo dragons. And I think it really comes down to the thickness of the neck. Why is the neck that thick? I was at the aquarium with my mother once, and we were looking at a Komodo dragon. We were going, oh yeah, Komodo dragon. And then that thing got up, pushed its belly off the floor, and was crawling like this. And we both at the same time said, oh. Because there's something not right. It really resembled to me a person in a lizard costume. That's like the muscles, the proportions, it wasn't making sense. It looked like a person, and why is it pushing itself off of the ground? You know what I mean? You know that monitor lizards are the only lizards that can run? Because usually when a lizard runs, like they have a splayed stance, right? So their arms come like perpendicular off of their body. They're not like a horse or like a hippo. These mammals. They're definitely not like a person where their arms are coming like downwards off the body. They have like a splayed stance, right? So when they move, they kind of have to run with their bodies going like and every time they like make a turn, they compromise one of their lungs. They go like they can't inflate this lung, they can't inflate this lung. So they can't breathe and run at the same time. That is not true for monitor lizards, okay? Because these things have like the thick necks. It all comes back to the thick neck. If I see a person with too thick a neck, I'm going, what do you need all that neck for? It's suspicious. The necks are able to, sort of like a bellows sort of thing, force air into the body so they can breathe and run at the same time. Scary. And let's talk about that splayed stance, right? One of the distinctions, dinosaurs and lizards, it gets kind of, it's kind of strange to call a dinosaur a lizard. They're not really lizards, The reptilian, sure, birds, yeah. And the thing that sort of separates, lizard from dinosaur is the splayed stance because, or maybe just T-Rex. Because they had their legs coming down directly. I don't know. I did a lot of looking into this when I was in a panic about Komodo dragons. I really was in a panic, and I did a lot of research into the situation. I've read the studies, like I've looked at the scholarship, right? Like I know the facts. I know the facts present here, but it's been a while so I'm a little bit rusty. But it's like the way that the Komodo dragon pushes its body off the ground and whomp, 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 whomp. You can tell it does not want to have a splayed stance. You can tell it wants those legs and is moving into a state where the legs are going to be coming directly beneath the body. Let's talk about parthenogenesis. Parthenogenesis, is that what it's called? Parthenogenesis? Virgin births? Come on, people. Let's wake it up. I bet you next season there's going to be an episode. Well, I don't know. Because, I'm not sure how much, to what extent, Komodo dragons in the wild are given the opportunity to, are in situations where they're biting people. It's sort of the same thing for, a gaboon viper. Hugely, I love the gaboon viper. It's not, my favorite snake. Will I? Maybe I'll do, a top 5 list in some other video. But I don't know if the gaboon viper will be on the top 5, but it's definitely up there, definitely one of my favorite snakes. I wouldn't say the favorite, but it's the gaboon viper, really potent. Ooh, what kind of venom is that? Is it cytotoxic venom? I think. Don't quote me on that one though. I do need to brush up. It's been a while since I've really looked into snakes very heavily. So my facts are a little bit rusty. I'm not quite sure what kind of venom the gaboon viper has, but it has a lot of it. It has a very strong, very potent. You get bit by a gaboon viper, number one who has gaboon viper anti-venom. We are literally in Vermont. Who has gaboon viper anti-venom? And number 2, it's really strong, really fast acting, right? And so but it's not one of the deadliest snakes. It's not considered one of the deadliest snakes because it's not really killing people because it's not living in places where people also live. So I feel like I kind of like the way that definition works out, where it's something can be really dangerous, and a bite from it could kill you, but because it's not in like a place where people live, like it's not considered super deadly. I don't know. There's something about that I found really interesting. So I'm not sure if like the thing is similar with Komodo dragons because they're not really living in places where people live. But I would suggest watching Something Bit Me. There's no episode about the Gaboon Viper, but there are a couple of snakes. Like they have like I think the first episode is like a fer de lance. They have an episode about like a copperhead, I think. A lot of people like hiking, and then sometimes they have a couple of episodes like they're really not sure what bit them. But I love that. So many about alligators. I will not be going into the water with the alligator because an alligator, crocodiles, girl, they'll eat you right up. They do not care. They don't care. They don't gaff. Stop feeding these animals. We learned do not feed wildlife because especially dangerous wildlife like alligators, like crocodiles, because then they start to associate, okay, whenever I'm seeing people, I'm seeing a meal. And these things, they get confused. Like highly intelligent creatures, highly sophisticated organisms, but they get confused. And so, like I wouldn't say that, alligators are necessarily on the same level as polar bears, where they're seeing people and they're going, oh, breakfast, brekkie, oh, brekkie. That might be more crocodiles because they are Australian, or a lot of them are, not all of them. But yeah, so I wouldn't say it's like on the same level of like, yeah, okay, I'm seeing people and I'm like going like, okay, I'm gonna eat these people for sure. But it's like, there's a lot of splashing in the water. It's like, oh yeah, this is like the same picture that I see when I'm getting like a really easy meal. So and then I just start chomping. It's really easy for these things to get confused. I don't blame the animal, but don't put it in a position where it's gonna get confused. Because now things are really super duper dangerous. Like they used to be afraid. These alligators used to be afraid of people. They used to see people and they used to run away, because people were the apex predator. But then people wanted to get cute and throw like a hog into the water and take a picture of the alligator. And now, since you wanted to be cute, now they don't see you as scary. The alligator sees you as cute. And when the alligator sees you as cute and not as scary, then they get biting. And you're like, ow, why are you biting me? It's because you want to be cute. So I don't recommend being cute in front of the alligators, That's never a position you want to be in. But yeah, I love this show. I'm so excited for season 2. I can't wait for season 2 to drop. I think like I read the description for like the first episode. And I'm really excited. Like there's really been something missing from my life without Something Bit Me. And like I rewatched the episodes and like it's just as good. It was just as good the first time, but I need to learn new things about the world and about wildlife. So highly excited. Oh my god. I think this video will probably come up sooner than some other videos that I've already recorded because I have to edit those a little bit. But this one, I was good in it. I didn't do anything too wild. Yeah. I think I definitely, like, the next one I film is going to be about, like, maybe my top 5 favorite snakes, or, like, one specifically dedicated to reptiles. And, like, this is not, like, supposed to be educational. This is me, like, talking about things that I like, or talking about things that I think about in the same way that I've talked about things that I think about on other videos. But, And maybe I'll do one about writing too. But this is not educational. It's just that something bit me. Wildlife and animals are as much a part of my life as being annoyed by other people are. So, okay. I think probably the next video that come out after this one will be my delusional thinking about my body. And a little bit of gender. A little bit. Sort of explain things. I maybe even do like a pronoun tour. I don't know. I'm so Gen Z gay. Okay.